All right, you guys, I am so excited. Today I have Heather, and she is from Just the Bells 10, correct? On social media. You guys follow her. I had a friend post one of her reels, and I just absolutely fell in love with her and her beautiful family. I can tell she's got such an amazing heart. All of her children are beautiful. So I'm super excited to learn more about her. And if you don't follow her, go follow her because she's amazing. Like her kids are amazing. Just everything they do is so much fun to watch, especially right now with football season, because they do all these fun food things that I've actually just like loved watching. So, and it's amazing. And she like just how her kids jump in and do it. So I will go ahead and I will turn the time over to Heather and have her talk, and then I'll ask her any questions that I may have. So go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much. Yes, I am Heather Bell. I'm a mom to 8 children. I'm married to my husband, Luke. We've been married for this year will be 26 years. And just a little background on how we became Just the Bells 10. Back before my husband and I got married, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. I actually had a friend that had it, and she was told she wouldn't be able to have children. So when I got diagnosed, I was very upset because I thought, oh, great, all I want to do is be a mother. And my husband was there. Well, this is before we got married. And he still wanted to be with me. He wanted to spend a life with me, and he knew we'd get through it. And we got married in 96. And after 4 years of biopsies and surgeries and going to different doctors and doing different infertility medicine, we just, we were told we might not be able to have children. And we thought, okay, it's time for us to, find other ways to become parents. And we actually had a friend that had mentioned adoption to us. So we reached out to a private adoption agency, and that's where we adopted David from birth in 2000. We actually met the birth mom. We're still friends with the birth family. We kept it open adoption because we knew that it was important for David to still be a part of his family's life. And so we adopted David in 2000 at birth. And then 2 years later, we got into foster care because it does cost a lot to adopt through private adoption. And I'm actually very thankful because both of our parents surprised us at Christmas and actually paid for us to be able to adopt David, which was just huge. And we wanted to keep having a family. And I really felt like as a new mom, I just wanted to make a difference, even if it was maybe not adopting children through foster care, but just being a part of their lives, helping the families reunite. We got into foster care in 2002, and it really was just to be a help to families. We always worked with families. I wasn't out to steal people's children. I just wanted to make a difference. And so our very first meeting in 2002, we saw Joshua. He was sitting in the middle of the room. I could clearly see he had some issues. He had bright red hair, fire engine red hair, bright green eyes. And he was just sitting there, kind of screaming because he really couldn't talk or anything. And after the meeting, I just knew in my heart I had to be his mom. I just knew it. And so I went to the social worker and I said, and this is before we've taken any kids in, like we were just at our very first meeting. So I went to the social worker and I said, who is that little guy there? I love him so much. And she, told me it was Joshua, and just kind of told me his background, that he was shaken at 2 weeks old and suffered brain damage. And he had a lot of things, that he was dealing with. And they were in the middle of termination and stuff. And so I said, well, I would really like to be his mom. And she was kind of shocked because we're new foster parents, new parents. And so she reached out to the foster family that had him, and they were actually surprised too, because they knew it was going to be a lot of work. And so we just started that process. He started coming into our home. And then within 6 months, he was in our home, and we immediately started working with him, working with the doctors. And we had him walking or crawling within 6 months, walking another 4 or 5 months. And then I had taught him sign language so he could say, please, thank you. Tell me when he's hungry. Tell me when he's sad. And then eventually he started talking. At the time, he was still on a bottle. He couldn't really eat a lot of things. So we really worked with him. So it really was like a year of just really working. I remember him crying because he didn't want to walk. He didn't want to crawl. He didn't know how to communicate. All he did was scream. And so it was really like a rough year, but he is a fighter. And just his smile. I mean, I can't even say enough about Joshua. So anyway, his adoption was finalized July 4th, 2003. And the next day I found out I was pregnant with Gideon. I couldn't believe it. After 8 years of trying to have a baby, I found out I was pregnant with Gideon. And it's so funny because nobody was available. My husband was out of service. My best friend was out of service. They were in places where there was no service. And at the, no cell phones then, it was all landlines. And so I'm trying to get a hold of people, and I'm walking around the room, pacing, crying. And he's just following me around like, what's going on with mom? And so finally we got a hold of my husband, and David said, mommy has a baby in her belly. And so he's like, what? And he's like, mommy has a baby in her belly. So David actually got to tell my husband. So sweet. And so Gideon was born the next day, the next year. We moved into a bigger house, of course, because we had a little tiny house. And then in 2006, Isabella came into our home. She was 5.5 months old with her brother, but her brother ended up going with his father. They had different fathers. And so after 2 long years, we finally got to adopt Isabella. And then maybe 8 months after that, we got a call saying that there was a little girl that was 8 years old. She wanted to live on a big farm, have a big family, and go to church. And so the social worker called me and said, I have a little girl for you. She's coming in next week. You're going to adopt her. I'm like, okay. So I told my husband, we got an 8-year-old little girl coming. And so we met her 2 weeks before Christmas. Her and David hit it off. They right away went to the barn to check out the horses. We raised Clydesdale horses. And so she was with her grandma for Christmas. The week after Christmas, she came and moved in. And, it was kind of a struggle for her because she really wanted to be with her birth mom, but she knew it just wasn't gonna work. And so she struggled a little bit, and I just really had to be patient and just tell her I love her and I understand. And so then shortly after that, about 6 months later, little Noah came into our home. He was 3 years old. His brothers lived next door to us. We were friends with their dad. He worked for our company, and they were our neighbors. And so Noah came into our home through foster care because at the time their mom was struggling, and they wanted him to be by his brothers. And so Noah came in, I think like in June, and then in October, Robert and Brendan's dad died unexpectedly, and they really wanted to stay by their brother. So we sat them down at the table and we asked them, hey, can we adopt you? Do you want to be part of our family? And they were like, yeah, we want to be here. And so then we also talked with the birth mom because she was struggling, but it was still her children. And so we sat down with her and we said, hey, we really want to bring all the boys in. You'll be able to see them. We'll work with you. Is that okay? And she agreed. And so she terminated her rights, and we were able to adopt all 3 of the boys that next year. And so at the time, you're only allowed 8 children in your home. So our license got closed. And then that's how we are just the Bells 10.
No, I absolutely love it. And I just love, I can tell you have one of the biggest hearts. And my favorite thing is I can tell that you want what's best for every single party that's involved, which I think is beautiful and magical. And your kids, I just love it. There's just so much love in your home for every single one of them. I can feel that. And I just think it's so amazing. And we need more people like you, because seriously,
thank you.
I love it so much. And I love everything that you put on social media to promote just fun with your family, but also educate about how your family came to be. And it's just wonderful and beautiful. And so I know you mentioned a little bit, have there been any other, I don't know, I just like to ask this to keep it real with real life, hardships that you guys, you mentioned a couple with adjustments with the kids and stuff, but any other things that you can maybe think of that have been?
Yeah. When Haley came in, she really did struggle because she understood, but it's hard because no matter what happens, children are always going to love their moms. There's just that bond. And so even if the mom's not around or she hurt them, they're always going to love her. There's just that loyalty to a mother. And so for us, it was, we didn't talk bad about their families. We really did work with them. We really did. We brought parents into our home. We took them to church with us. We went to lunch with them. It really was important for us to build a relationship with them because we wanted them to know that we love their kids too, and that we're not here to take your kids, but we're here to help your kids. And that if you stay healthy and you do what's right, you're able to be a part of their lives. And so Haley really struggled for a while until she realized, okay, hey, they do love me. They do want what's best for me, but they're still allowing me to see my family. She's really close with her grandma. She sees her uncle. She just reunited with her birth father. So we're very open about that, just because I think as kids get older, if you cut off everything from before they will resent that. They will be angry. They will get upset, and they need to know who they are. And with the boys, Robert and Brendan did struggle a little bit with anger just because their dad just passed and they didn't understand that. And it happened so fast. I mean, that happened really fast. Like he was fine and all of a sudden he wasn't there. And so if I get emotional, I'm so sorry. But you know, it just was really hard for them because they loved their dad so much and they didn't really understand what was going on. And so when you are a foster parent, you really have to understand that these kids are going through so much. You have to be patient. You have to let it go with their time. Like you can't rush them to heal. You can't rush them to not be angry. They're going to have so many emotions, and they need to know that you don't have to feel guilty to have these emotions. It's okay. You're angry. You love your dad. It's okay. It's okay that you're angry. You're here because you want to be with your mom. Like you have to understand and be patient with them because only time heals. Time, understanding, and support and love. And so, you know, it was really hard for us to see the kids angry because they would act out, the older ones. But how do you expect a 9-year-old to act when their dad just passed? You know, it's just something they have to go through. So, and you hurt with them. You know, I mean, it's been 10 years and I still get emotional thinking of my kids hurt, you know, and it's hard too because I guess another thing is, you know, don't pry them into telling you everything that happened in their past. Let them, when they're comfortable, tell you. There's things I don't know about what happened with my boys or my daughter. And I'm not going to pry that from her because that's her personal story. That's her personal things that happened. When she's comfortable and it's appropriate, or she needs to share something with me or my kids, then they will. But I've never asked them to tell me things because, you know, that's theirs, you know, and even when they're little, I never pried and said, hey, what happened? Because, you know, it's things that they have to deal with. And as they get older, they might share it with us, and they might not. And that's okay.
You are such a beautiful
Sorry.
human. No, you seriously are such a beautiful human, and don't ever apologize for crying because people that follow me, I bawl at everything. So you're totally fine because I just love it. And seriously, I love, like just, you're just amazing because I love that you honor all the space of everything with everyone. And I can't say that enough because I feel like people don't know maybe the ins and outs of adoption, but I just love, like, even foster care. Like there's some foster care moms that I've, you know, interviewed, and I just have mad respect because I just think it's amazing. And just like I said, if people don't follow you, they better follow you because you, you seriously are just so amazing. And I love it. And I just love how open and how you just respect like everybody's boundaries, including like your, you know what I mean, your own. Like it's just, oh, I just love it. Like seriously, if I could just hug you through the screen, I would, because
oh my goodness, thank you. I'll take it. I'll take the hug. Well, you know, too, we get a lot of people asking us, well, that's their privacy. But you know, how can you share that? I never put anything on our platforms unless I've asked my kids. And there are things that I've not shared that we'll never share because it's not the world's, you know, they don't need to know that. That's just private, you know, so I don't share everything. And I do ask my kids if it's okay before I do it. And there's some things they're saying, no, I'm not comfortable. Okay, fine, we won't. You know, and I do make sure that, you know, that I respect that because that's not my story to tell. And really there's things that you don't need to tell the world, you know, and, you know, that's just, you have to do that. And even doing foster care, even if people are thinking about doing foster care, it brings out so many emotions. Like I remember when we became foster parents and I'm not saying this because I think I'm better than everybody else. But before I got into foster care, you know, other than the infertility that I dealt with, I thought, oh, my life is pretty good. The world must be pretty good. If my family's good, everybody else's families are good. And when we got into foster care, I just cried because you really don't realize the hurting families and the kids that have nobody. Like you don't, unless you become a foster parent, you just don't realize that. You really think that everybody is like you. The world is perfect. Oh, perfect family. And my bubble was burst. It was very humbling. I cried. I thought, oh my goodness, how can I even complain when there's children that have nothing? You know, we've had children come to our home, never had a bed, never had shoes that fit, never tried this, you know, never got to go to McDonald's. I mean, and I know those things seem small, but to a child, like it's a big deal. It's a big deal to not have a mattress. Who doesn't have a mattress, you know? And So when we got into foster care, it was just very humbling for me because I had to, gosh, you can't be selfish and you can't complain about things that you got, because there's kids and families that have nothing, like nothing. And so it's very hard. It's hard emotionally, it's hard spiritually, it's hard physically. You go through so many emotions. And as I tell my kids, you don't have to feel guilty to have emotions. We're created with emotions. We're meant to have emotions. Don't ever be ashamed because you're angry, or ashamed because you're sad, or ashamed because you cried in front of somebody, like I just apologized, but it does bring out a lot of emotions. But it's good though, because honestly, everything you said about me, I seriously appreciate it. But my kids created me. Like, I'm the woman I am because of my kids alone. It's nothing. I didn't do it. My kids made me who I am. I was not this person 25 years ago. I was different, and they created me to be this person. I'm sometimes I'm a wreck. Sometimes I'm doing good. Sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I'm like, just leave mom alone. She's going in the bedroom, But I really do give the credit to my children. My kids are my heroes, and they created the person and the mother I am. And I feel like I'm going to cry the rest of the day now, but I'm so appreciative that they let me be their mom, for one, because the older kids had a choice, and they created me. I'm like this because of David, Joshua, Robert, Haley, Brendan, Gideon, Noah, Izzy. They created this Heather Bell right here.
No, I love it. It's so beautiful. And I was going to ask, but you kind of already mentioned, any advice for parents or anybody looking in both parts, because you've experienced both adoption and foster care. I know you've kind of touched on it already, but anything else you can think of that you would advise people who are maybe looking into going into that?
Yeah, with private adoption, it's pretty much the same as foster care. You do classes and things like that, but something that really shocked me with adoption is when I went in there, I just wanted to be a mom. I did not care if it was a boy or a girl. I wanted to be a mom. There were actually families there that had specifics. I want a blonde haired, blue eyed. I want it to be Caucasian. I was really surprised because I'm thinking to myself, I just want to be a mom. And so if you want to adopt and just be a mom, just be a mom. And then whoever God brings you, that is the baby you take care of. I was really shocked at the paperwork and how people were responding, because they would share. And I'm thinking, don't you just want to be a mom? Like, but we were open. We kept everything open. Our kids know they're adopted. When they were old enough to understand, we didn't hide it. We weren't going to keep it secret and then think that I'm their mom. We were totally open with it. So they know their families, they know their stories. It's their decision who they reach out to now, So for private adoption, I would just say, if you want to be a mom, be a mom. Just put whatever. That's what I did. Whatever. I did not care. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but we were the first ones picked. And I do think it's because we just wanted to be parents. We didn't care. We just didn't care. So that would be my advice for private adoption. Man, if you want to adopt, just be a mom. Take whoever God brings you. As far as foster care goes, be ready for your world to change. Be ready to, all these kids want is a hug. I love you and I'm going to keep you safe. That's really all they want. They want to know that you're going to be there for them. Even if it's just a temporary friendship, they want to know that you're going to be there for them. They're looking for that stability, that security, that love, waking up in the same place, eating at the same time. Some of my kids were like, we eat when? What do we get? Really? We're going to McDonald's. Like, they were just so excited, and just be ready for it to change your life and to humble you, because if it doesn't, then something's wrong. It really, being in foster care really does break you, and it really makes you look at the person you are, your motives. If you really want to do it, we second guess ourselves. How do you not second guess yourself, especially as new parents? I don't know if I'm going to do well. I don't know if I'm going to struggle, or am I going to be sad when they leave? And, it's hard because you're going to love everyone. You're going to want to save everyone. You're going to want to bring everyone in. And that's what my husband said. He's like, I'd say, hey, do you mind if he goes, does it matter? You're going to bring him in, right? Because you love him. Yeah, you're right. But I just wanted you to be kind of included, you know, I mean, because he knew that I just wanted to save all of the kids, you know, and here I am 8 kids later. My plan was not to have 8 children. I mean, I had a plan and this was not it, but I'm very thankful that this was my plan, you know, and we're actually looking at opening our license again. Now that my kids are kind of shifting out, we're looking at opening our license again and hopefully bringing in more kids. I don't know. We could be Just the Bells 24. Who knows? At 8 plus 8, well, we could be Just the Bells 16 by the end of the year. You don't know, you know? So I'm pretty excited about that. And my kids that are still here are really excited about that too, because it is a family decision, you know, because it's going to affect us all. And my daughter sounds like she's going to be working with foster kids. And I said, oh, you're going to be the next mom. You're going to end up with 8 kids and you're going to bring me kids. She's like, probably, mom. So, you know, my kids, they all, even if they have their own families, everyone have told me that they want to adopt and be a foster parent. And I'm just like, could you make me any prouder? Because they get it. My kids get it. They know. And so now I'm probably going to have like 50 grandkids. Like, you just look out for our page in another 5 years. We are going to, Wayne gonna be able to fit on the camera. There's gonna be so many of us. I can't wait.
I love that. No, I love that so much. And I just want to say thank you, because I love that you have shared the joy in it, but I also have loved that, like, be ready. Like, if you're wanting to do this, be ready, because it's not easy. And
Mm-mm.
I just love that, because I love when people are honest and real about it, because, you know, adoption and foster care, you see when on social media, like the fluffy and the good parts of it, and people don't really talk about the tough parts of it. So I love that. I love that you shared that like pretty much it's going to be hell. There's going to be some days in parenting too, there's hell, but like with these babies, like when you were just talking about it, oh, like I'm just with you, like, just, you know. And then I look at my own kids and I'm like, dude, you guys, you little turds are so spoiled. I love you, but you are, but you know what I mean? Like, it's the simple things, you know, you're able to have a coat and go to school, you're able, those kinds of things. And so, I just love it. Do you have anything else that is on your heart or mind that you want to share?
I mean, I think I have given you guys everything, you know, but no, I'm just really thankful. And we definitely, there is a need, you know, there is a need. We get calls saying, we don't know what to do with these children. Could you hurry up and get your license going? And, you know, there's just nobody doing it, because it isn't easy, you know. And I've had a lot of kids like message me, like older, like 15, 16, 17, 18, asking, hey, I know I'm going to be out of the system soon, but I would really love to be adopted, you know. And I really wish it was that easy. I wish I could just say, yeah, come in. But, you know, I have people from other countries that message me, and I'm like, I really wish that it was that easy. And unfortunately, it's not that easy, but it should be. It should be that easy. But you also have to keep the kids safe. And so that's really important. And that's why you do the steps of the background checks and stuff, you know. But there's a lot of people hurting, a lot of kids just, you know, and I even tell some people, if you don't feel like that you can be a foster parent, they have respite where you don't have to actually get a license. And what you would do is, if the foster parents need a break, you could take them for the weekend or for the day, and you could be like a big brother or big sister to them. You could also just say, hey, I want to help mentor, and pick them up after school for a couple hours, take them to dinner, hang out, and then take them to the foster families. And it gives the foster families a break. It gives the kids a break. So even if you can't become foster parents, there are other ways to be a big brother or big sister, or to do respite and just to help these families out, to give them a break, and to maybe kind of show you how it's going to be. And maybe that might help you become a foster parent, you know. So there are other ways to mentor all these children without actually becoming a licensed foster care worker. So I would suggest looking into those too.
That's awesome. See, and I've obviously heard of the Big Brother Big Sister program, but I've never heard of the other. Was respite? Is that what you said?
Respite, right?
I think that's awesome.
Yep.
I think that's so cool. So seriously. So I know you have a busy day because you're going to head on vacay here soon, but seriously, Heather, thank you so much for taking some time to meet up with me and to help educate not just myself, but everybody who's going to watch this. And I really, really appreciate it, and keep shining that light, because you are what this world needs, and you're amazing. And I love that. Yeah, like seriously, thank you for sharing your family and
you're welcome.
Just all the goodness. I just love it so much. So seriously, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.